Verizon is buying Yahoo in a deal worth more than $4.8 billion. The internet giant has been struggling to keep up with its competitors in search, social media, and video. Yahoo will be integrated with AOL under Verizon and is set to create a new rival in mobile media technology.
Oh, we'll see about that. Good morning, it's Tech Talk Today, episode 253. My name is Chris.
And I'm Angela, and it's actually the afternoon.
I know, it's the afternoon this morning here in the Seattle area. That's how we do it in the Pacific Northwest.
That reminds me of Uncle Grandpa,
It's good morning this afternoon, Ange. It's good to be with you. And it's good to be with our Mumble Room. Time appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Hello.
Hello. So you guys probably all saw the news. Yahoo,
I didn't.
You didn't hear about this, huh?
I almost thought, are you retroing a clip?
No.
That's kind of funny.
This is today. Here's the deets of the deal. Verizon is going to be paying $4.83 billion for Yahoo's core assets. This in turn means that when the deal is completed, which is expected Q1 of 2017, the remaining Yahoo will rename itself and become a separate, registered, publicly traded investment business. As of today, the business that will stand behind post-acquisition by Verizon includes Yahoo's cash, its shares in Alibaba and Yahoo Japan, and Yahoo's convertible notes. So this is what's going to be remaining of the company. Everything else, IP that's connected to Yahoo, their core assets, everything like that is going to Verizon. Marissa Mayer, the much-watched CEO who was hired to turn Yahoo, but ultimately did not succeed despite years of acquisitions and big plans, also confirmed directly that she will stay on for the next stage, whatever that may be. But no info comes on what that is when this is all complete. So just like Verizon bought up AOL, they're now buying up Yahoo.
That's interesting because Yahoo and AOL they're very similar in that they offer a big variety of services, like kind of like a start on their start page, you know, and they are duplicative at this point.
And they both seem to like flirt with we're a media company that has technology, that kind of thing. Anybody in the Mumble Room have any thoughts on the big acquisition? Sort of a historic tech company.
So this is the downside to Yahoo because, as I remember, AOL just had some layoffs a year or so ago. So who knows what's going to happen with Yahoo? This might just make them smaller.
I don't think this is bad. I don't think this will be good, but I don't think this is bad. Nothing will significantly change. And in fact, because of the approaches to zero-rated in other locations, not necessarily in the United States, not necessarily in all of the states, this might actually influence Yahoo ability to provide services that they would otherwise not be able to, because they will have a big carrier behind them.
I do wonder if that could make a difference.
For their project.
Yeah, perhaps now Verizon and Verizon Mobile or Wireless are separate companies still, but they're same parent company, so there could be some cross-breeding there that does happen between all of them. That would be interesting. AOL seems to have benefited from being able to spy on Verizon wireless users to target them ads. So that's been good for AOL's ad bottom line. So maybe something will be good for Yahoo. You know, whenever you get to spy on users, everybody's happy, except for the users.
Right.
Cyanogen Inc. is reportedly firing its OS development arm and switching or pivoting to apps. Now, there's a few things we need to talk about. Cyanogen is a person. Cyanogen Mod is a free open source OS heavily based on Android. Cyanogen OS, a for-profit OS. Cyanogen Inc., a for-profit company that aims to sell you Cyanogen OS to OEMs. And this is the company that's pivoting. We don't know exactly how so, but Cyanogen Inc. has partnered with Microsoft in the past to bundle Bing, Skype, OneDrive, Outlook, and Office into Cyanogen OS. But there's really been no significant OEM deals for the OS. And so the company, at least according to one source, is apps. That's their future. This could mean the company's mod platform, which is still nothing more than really a generic app store, or it could mean maybe they monetize some of the apps that ship with Cyanogen Mod or Cyanogen OS, or maybe seeing something all entirely differently. But potentially murky future right now for Cyanogen and Cyanogen Inc. I don't run it on any of my phones, but one of the really common responses to criticisms about Android is, well, yeah, but you can put a different ROM on it. So I don't know, Daredevil, what do you think? Is this going to change the game much if they stop making a commercial arm of this operating system and trying to sell it to OEMs?
I have a twisted perception on Cyanogen, to be honest. I think it's for enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And because of that, it won't matter because those users are using it for whatever other odd reasons they're using.
And they download it off the web, they flash it to a device, that kind of thing?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's a minority. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Cyanogen mod is interesting as a concept. It's good that it's out there. Maybe some good ideas will be generated there and then imported to other operating systems. Fine, great. But in itself, I don't even see it as a big player.
Mosenrath is asking if our previous story also means that Verizon now owns all of his emails. No, not till Q1 2017. So you have until then. They could always put the kibosh on it. Good point, Daredevil, and I agree with your take on it as well. So while we're talking about things that only appeal to like a very few elite set of users, that's going to be this next story, top to bottom. But I just think it's so freaking cool.
In this increasingly complex world, businesses search for solutions that make their IT more dependable and easier to manage. They seek better productivity and lower total cost of ownership.
It's not an ad. It's virtualized GPUs.
AMD's multi-user GPU, or MX GPU for short, delivers workstation-class graphics from the data center, providing the freedom to run any application on virtually any device, anywhere on the network. AMD MX GPU is the world's first hardware virtualized GPU. MX GPU brings the full power and features of a physical GPU to VDI. Users get powerful 3D rendering and consistent performance for all their applications. For all users, security is paramount.
So instead of having to have crazy GPUs in a mobile device like a laptop or a tablet or a phone or on certain servers in your data center, you can have these centralized graphics cards that are divvied out to your devices on demand as they require graphics card compute power.
So is this, if I'm understanding this correctly, is this going to make old laptops great again?
Boy, it could. It could also make cheap laptops capable of doing really high-end 3D tasks. There may
on
be
the network only.
There may be some sort of requirement of higher-end technology to enable this to happen. So that's why it might not work with older hardware. But if there wasn't, then yes.
Oh, sure.
It's kind of like. Go ahead.
There is another gist to it. We're just moving to phones that convert into full desktops where you dock things. This is where you will need these graphics cards.
In fact, stay tuned for our Kickstarter of the week on that particular topic. Exactly. Essentially, you can take that GPU load, and it's a virtualized GPU that has hardware-backed performance. That's pretty interesting. Speaking of hardware-backed performance, look at this next story. Michigan police are 3D printing a murder victim's fingers to try to unlock his phone. So instead of going the FBI route and getting Apple or whoever to hack the phone, they're going this route. They're trying to recreate his fingers.
Silicone mold? Yeah.
Well, so
totally. And then just wear
tricky.
it. You put on somebody else's thumb?
Well, it's kind of tricky. My notes aren't coming through here. Hold on a second.
Showstopper.
So here's what they say, is the problem would be twofold. Number one, they need to get access to this phone, but they don't know which finger he used. Right? So they got it. So they had to 3D print all 10 fingers.
Okay.
So that was problem number one.
Which they only had because he had a criminal record?
Well, he's dead. It's a victim.
Okay.
He's dead.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
And then the other problem they had was the fingerprint readers are capacitive, meaning your finger is connecting some of the circuitry, creating a circuit, and you have to have that component for it to work, which means it generally has to be a live finger. So what they figured out is since 3D plastic doesn't carry the electrical charges like human skin does, they coated the artificial fingerprints in a thin layer of metallic particles, enabling the scanner to then read them.
Wow.
Yeah. They have not yet handed over the artificial fingerprints to the police because more tests are in order, they say.
Were they able to unlock it, though, or is that what they're still waiting on?
I don't know. They're testing it on a test phone right now, so I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah.
It seems to me that they have too much of a big budget and too much cool toys to do. And, it's too much of a danger to have their ability for police to do that. Because it's a little step away from planting evidence in the future. So I'm sorry. No.
You know what I think is they didn't need to wait for a dead guy to try to do this.
Well, that's true.
You could.
I'm sure this isn't the first attempt either.
You could use a control group of live people. Anyway.
Or kill a guy. They're gonna have dual factor authentication biometric style. It'll have to be. Here's what it'll start. It'll be fingerprint. And it'll be fingerprint and retina. And then they'll get some way they'll be able to look at the pulse in your veins in your eyeball and see.
Wasn't this in The Matrix?
Well, there is. I
Well-
don't. There was a couple of movies like Judge Dredd. Or what is it? Which movie is it where they take the guy's eyeball out and put it on a pencil and use it to access the doors?
Oh, gross.
I can't remember.
There's one where they cut off the hand.
Demolition Man, I think it was. Yeah, exactly. It happens. It happens in Hollywood. Okay, so this kind of feels like the future. So I thought, let's keep our future train going here. Check this thing out. It's a robot that will grow all the food you need. No more feeling guilty about your dead garden.
I call BS already.
It does the square foot gardening technique.
Yeah, which we
and
tried.
It can grow cabbages to pumpkins to anything. It does the watering, the seed planting. Look at that. Look at that precise watering. It gives each plant specific care that it needs individually.
Okay, and you can also just starve while your crop is while you're waiting for it.
Well,
I mean,
you have what? No. I mean, this is like in springtime when
Yeah,
you're
I
planting
know,
your
I
garden.
know.
You set this up.
it's interesting.
It uses way less water. It uses a camera to detect weeds. And it,
Great.
Yeah, and then it kills the weeds. Look at that. It stamps the weeds out while they're fresh. It then plots them. Yeah.
This is so cool.
I know, isn't
I
it?
can see somebody adapting this for growing marijuana.
Yo, totally. Absolutely. This is how you get precise cannabis growth. Exactly. Yeah, and of course it has a web UI to manage the whole thing. I think it's kind of a neat idea.
Yeah,
And
it is.
in this particular demo, they also solar powered it.
Wow.
So it was
You know
solar
where
powered
is this
too.
used for ages?
What? Something kind of like this or what?
Yeah, something kind of like this.
What?
Has been used for ages in the space station for experiments.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, yep. So they call it FarmBot Genesis. It's a project to alleviate concerns of today's modern food growth needs. You can find it at farmbot.io.
That's great.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they have a couple of videos up on their site.
With the current food production system, one cannot look past how broken it is.
And they did a crowdfunding, so I don't want to go too far into it because they're still working on that right now. We have a Kickstarter of the week. In fact, this one almost made it to our Kickstarter of the week, but you mentioned it. You're the one that said it first, Ange, so let's talk about it next. I think you might have been the one that submitted this story to the show. I can't remember where this one came in. We have different sources for stories like these.
Most women can agree. Periods are
fact.
annoying and painful.
They suck.
One company wants to turn painful periods into chill periods using marijuana, a drug known for medicinal as well as recreational uses. The weed capsule has been dubbed Foria Relief by the company Foria, which also launched a popular marijuana-infused sexual lubricant. The capsule is a small cocoa butter-based insert that is being marketed as a pain reliever for women's menstrual cramps. The tampon-sized vaginal suppository
God,
is
Ange.
blended with a 6-to-1 ratio of THC, oil concentrate, and CBD isolate, respectively. THC works by targeting the nerves to block out pain, while CBD acts as an anti-inflammatory and as an antispasmodic by treating muscle spasms that occur from menstruation and ovulation.
That CBD stuff is legit. I think that's going to be one of the profit centers of cannabis once people get their heads around CBD.
See, I thought it was a pill that you swallow, but a suppository
it's-
that's the size of a tampon? No, thank you.
You didn't know that when you saw it? Look at that headline. The tampon
Well,
might be the end of your
I
period
thought-
cramps.
I thought they were being creative with their ads and being like, while you're on your period using tampons.
No, here's what it says. When inserted into the vagina, these
Wow.
cannabis tampons provide powerful pain relief.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually read the article. Yeah.
That's our job.
Pass.
I actually think it's a great idea.
The thing is,
Kind of makes me wish I was a woman.
I
Sir,
sure
why
we
are you
could-
buying this pack of cannabis tampons? Don't ask questions. Also, I need this coconut oil.
Question. What about pregnancy and impacts on uterus and those things?
I don't know. I guess you probably wouldn't.
Okay.
You probably wouldn't need it if you're pregnant. Hopefully, of
Yeah.
course, unless you catch it afterwards.
No, I understand. What I mean is, like, in the long term, if you do this continuous use, is usually the tests that pills are subject to. It's like, how does it impact somebody that has been
Fertility.
consuming this fertility, right?
right.
Yeah, I know. I think
That
in
might
men,
be a
I think in
huge
men, it's
issue.
been shown to reduce sperm count. I think that's a thing. So yeah.
They don't swim well.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. When I was gonna try to induce labor, I did primrose oil, which are like normal, like vitamin-sized capsules.
This is so tech oriented right now.
And it was oral and
Yeah,
vaginal.
yeah.
And the thing is, as soon as the outer shell of it like breaks down, that stuff's coming out of you.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't even,
Yeah.
I
Interesting idea.
wouldn't want.
If
even
anybody out there has a
more
chance to try it and wants to do a Tech
coming
Talk
out.
Today review,
Yes, yeah. Please email it.
You know, actually, it's not far off for the show to sometimes wander off into the health aspect of things. What?
I might have a girlfriend. I could have a girlfriend.
Chat room. It's not so. Remember, there was a period of time where I was kind of reporting back on some health issues that I was struggling with. So I wanted to do a quick update. So that's Angela's health moment. I need a health moment jingle. You know, I need something every time I sit down that does. Here, I gotta.
I secretly use Arch Linux.
No, it's not quite it yet, but I'll get there. So for those, just a quick recap, I experiment from time to time with an app called Sleep as Android. It runs on your phone and it can monitor several things like noise levels, light levels, and it also pulls in outside weather conditions and factors all of that in and draws metrics around your sleep for that. But then in addition to that, it can use the gyro in the phone, or if you have a wearable from anything from pretty much like a Fitbit that supports sleep to an Android watch or a Pebble, it will use the sensors in that, including their heart rate monitors, to evaluate your sleep throughout the night, which is, after doing some reading, which is essentially what the at-home sleep apnea studies do. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty fascinating. On top of that, it works with monitoring your sleep cycle to use their intelligent alarm so that if it notices, you can say, hey, sleep is Android. I have a 30-minute window here, and if you notice at one point in this 30-minute window that I'm more awake than not, go ahead and wake me up then. Don't wait for the alarm right at just that particular moment. Take advantage of when I'm naturally waking up to just sort of gently. And it's sort of nice, too, because the way it starts is if you have a partner, it's great because I can have it start on my watch. So it starts by vibrating my watch for a few minutes, and then if I don't respond to that, my watch makes noise, and then if I don't respond to that, my phone makes noise, which is pretty cool. And it can also integrate with things like Hughes lights and whatnot, so that way if you get up to go pee in the middle of the night, you can turn the Hughes lights on like 10% so you don't blast your eyes.
Yeah, wake yourself up too much.
Yeah, and so I was looking at the part of the cloud aspect of Sleep as Android and seeing what that offers. And this is something called Sleep Cloud. And this is something I've signed up for and I've been participating in. And they recently released a bunch of sleep stats from other people like me that have the same setup that are tracking their sleep. And so this is kind of interesting because they have some great data here. They say most of the data came from the Western world, but there was some from other locations. They give a heat map of different areas, including some from Africa and, of course, from any of the Western world and even that Canada place. There's 3 types of snorers, occasional, in between, and serious, that exist in the population. Each type of snoring duration follows different patterns over time. Most people do not snore at all, and the heaviest snorers spend 40% of their night snoring. That's kind of interesting.
That is interesting, and it's almost you are a serious snorer.
You think so?
I think so, but it is.
It depends on my sleep apnea.
It is only between 30 and 40%, though, definitely, because it's just the first couple hours usually.
It was interesting, too, that the smart alarm seems to have a positive effect on the morning. About 30% of alarms get snoozed for longer than 30 minutes, and setting up a smart alarm prevents oversleeping, they show. People near the equator seem to get the least amount of sleep.
Weird.
People who wake up, even with small, slight improvements in their sleep ratings, seem to be reporting in much better moods throughout the day. So
what made you start tracking your sleep again?
Well, I've just sort of been not feeling particularly like I've been well rested for a while. I kind of can tell. Mm-hmm, yeah. I can tell mostly because I do this show or I do these shows, and I can tell when my mental facilities are not up to speed with the multitasking required. So I've been watching it for a bit, and so that's why I decided, well, I'm going to put some data into the sleep cloud system and have it sort of visualize it for me. And so I'm sharing this with the audience, hoping that somebody else out there uses this same system, because I've talked about it a few times now, and I would love to compare my data with your data just a bit here, because here I'm showing mine from last night. And there was only 3 moments in the night where I hit REM sleep, and none of them lasted for longer than 10 minutes. Wow. And I'm wondering, is that normal? Is that just the normal sleep? Or is that me having a particularly bad time? You can see my activity all night long remains pretty constant. That's the green line. And the red line there is my heart rate. So my heart rate's pretty high, too, throughout the night, which is not super encouraging.
Well, and wait.
Here's Sunday night before the Linux Action Show. 1 10-minute period. Between 5:19 a.m. and 5:29 a.m., I got REM sleep.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
One period in the whole night.
I used to get so angry when the kids would wake you up that early in the morning, because that is when you get your sleep.
And see, then right here, again, 10 minutes around 2 a.m. and 20 minutes at 6:40 a.m. It doesn't seem normal to me.
No.
So anyways.
And it's interesting to see when your green line spikes, so does your heart rate.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed
because
that too.
it's likely because of you're having an apnea at that point.
Yeah, now here's a good 20 minutes of REM sleep I got. But even not that much longer. So that's at 4 a.m. and then 5 a.m. I actually got up.
Look at your heart rate. That's pretty steady.
Yeah, that night, yeah.
Did you drink that night? No, I'm just kidding.
Sometimes I wonder if the sensor doesn't work too. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It could be a sensor
Well, and that's
issue.
why you're asking if anybody else uses it, because you want to compare. Like, are you also having this kind of result?
Yeah, it's pretty. I really have to go back to the first of the month to see a night where I got more than 15 minutes or so of 30 minutes of REM sleep. So I'm just curious.
So am I able to use this? Because I mean, I could try to see.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know if they have an iPhone version of it.
Okay.
Good luck. Is it hot up there in Washington? Not super hot. No. It is interesting. I look at the data. I didn't sleep substantially better on the road trip, but I did sleep better. And so I thought maybe it was allergies, leaving the state.
Yeah, either that or, I mean, you were doing more recreational, more moving around.
Lots of swimming.
So that might have helped your body fatigue.
I tried to, I've actually experimented with that too. Like I signed up for the gym over there for just a week. I just got a week pass and swam a few nights and didn't really seem to make a I'm trying to dial it down. Yeah, but this is where I think it's super cool to bring in technology and because when I go to the doctor, they're just blank on this stuff.
Right?
They're blank and they don't.
I know. I went to the doctor, the allergy doctor, talked about my nickel allergy today, and
they're not specialists.
No.
And so I'm
sorry, but this is like one of those things that might be more of an American issue. Like, first of all, I'm sorry.
Something with the doctor?
The thing of the doctor, the thing that, because mainly you hear about $70 to $100 weeks, and like in Europe we tend to have limits of 40 hours, 35-hour week. And when you have that, and then you have maybe a general doctor that you can visit frequently, and you do visit frequently, those things are usually greatly reduced. Stress builds up and you end up needing all these things. But unfortunately, I see technology as being something that instead of helping us free ourselves to having more time for us, actually helping us to free ourselves to do more work, because our employees say, oh, now they can use this app to properly coordinate. If they don't do it, it's their fault, and they can actually keep picking on you to do more and more.
Yeah,
and
I
feel that's a little bit
I think that's definitely true to an extent. I don't know if the two things are mutually exclusive. I think you can have technology that sort of becomes more of an entrapment and sort of a system that becomes something that you have to, the ultimate, like you're kind of inferring, clock punching mechanism. But I think also one of the things I've definitely sort of learned over the last 5 to 6 years of my life is there is really no reason I can't figure most things out if I just have enough time to research it and put myself to the task. There are enough things out there, enough information sources, there are enough people out there trying things, there's enough ways you can read that you can usually work your way through. Like, for example, I never, this is not a great example, I never, ever would have thought I would have been a guy that's doing oil changes on my generator. But it turns out I watched 2 YouTube videos, I'm like, oh, okay. And I go get the PDF, I go Google the PDF for the Onan generator online, and within 15 minutes, it's done. Right. And it is, so there is also an enablement of having access. So the fact that I had my phone in my pocket out there when I'm looking at this Onan generator, and I could look at the PDF and be like, that's definitely the same thing I'm looking at, to me is huge. Like, that's a huge enabler. Also with this sleep stats, if I get a couple of people saying, oh yeah, that's typical, that's how REM works, or if I get a couple of people saying, no man, you should be getting way more REM sleep, that's useful input for me, because then I can make adjustments in my life with diet and exercise and all of that, and I can quantify the improvements I'm making, and I don't waste my time doing things that don't improve the situation.
Exactly. I was just going to say, he's not becoming a slave to this app. He's using it as a foundation for figuring out what might work for his health.
I understood, but aren't we paying? Don't we have a system to let people build expertise for this?
Oh, yes. Sure, yes.
It doesn't work.
I have really, so the way it would have to work here is I would go to my general practice doctor. I would begin the process with them of troubleshooting this thing that I have, and they would extinguish their knowledge on the situation. They would then refer me to a sleep expert who would then contact me a week later and schedule me an appointment to come in. I would then come in and have a meeting with that person. I would do an interview with them. They would ask me questions. I could present them this data, which they would completely throw out the window and say, "Oh, well, I don't know. Those aren't medical equipment. I don't know anything. I can't base anything on that. Why don't we do a sleep study, Mr. Fisher?" Then I do a sleep study, and at the end, I get a diagnosis, but none of my questions around this will have been answered. And I want to be able to quantify things like, if I have a glass of wine with dinner, does it relax my throat muscles in a way that I legitimately have much worse sleep apnea? Do I have a condition in which I can't enjoy a glass of wine at night? Or if I have a glass of wine, does it make no difference? And so that even those kinds of answers, because the doctor's going to say, well, it's possible. But I really want to know the answer to it.
And of course, liabilities and all that jazz. But I had the same thing today. Chocolate has nickel in it, and I should avoid it technically. But my doctor couldn't tell me
how much. Yeah.
and in fact, I said, "Well, do you think you can refer me to a nutritionist?" And she said, "Yes, I can, but it won't be covered on your insurance. Unless you have diabetes, there's no medical reason for you to have a nutritionist." And I call BS on that because I need to know nickel is in everything. I even called the city of Marysville to figure out if our water has too much nickel in it for me to be drinking all day, if I need to find an alternative source.
And I guess this goes back to what I said. It might be more of an American issue due to how your system works.
Yeah, our system is a little jacked.
When you do have that amount of hours of work, you do have that system of access to health, I guess it does make a bigger difference in your market. I was just trying to say that, I think the root causes are on the systems in place, maybe. Because when you can be put to the stress of 100 hours a week, and perhaps you feel much bigger need of this. And what I'm saying is not that he's a slave of the technology. I'm saying that it becomes to a point that people start needing the technology because otherwise they don't get the rest.
You know what else I found?
At the same time, tries to push other people that are not on it and are currently trying to fight in terms of labor rights on their employees, then the consequence is when you go to a negotiation and you go and you say, look, $100 a week is not the sensible thing to ask somebody, and they will just say, well, these many people do it and they have found solutions.
You know what I find? Here's what I think is particularly unique about the sleep angle of this. When I'm asleep, I have no idea what I'm doing. And so I am able to sort of have visibility on an aspect of my life that is normally completely unknown to me. And I don't know really how good a quality of sleep I get, because when I sleep bad, I can usually go a couple of days before I really notice it. It's like the third day, I'm like, oh God. But then I got to rewind time and figure out what I did. So it's so nice to have a snapshot into that. I've posted my last night's data up on Twitter, and if anybody else would want to just take a screenshot and send it to show me what theirs looks like, I'll show you mine. Now you can show me yours at Chris LAS. I posted that shenanigans up there. And, we can get into the whole doctor and insurance discussion, but in reality, the debag term is quantifiable self, but I actually find it to be fascinating.
Yeah.
I've had several interesting revelations. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
This is just one. It seems to be pretty consistently that a bowl of ice cream affects me much more negatively than a glass of wine before bed.
You've always kind of had an issue with dairy.
Yeah. But you can shows up, it's like, there it is. And so so now you know what? I have cut that out, which is good for health reasons too.
Right,
So,
exactly, yeah.
There you go. And by the way, one other thing, just speaking of data, if you already have a CPAP machine, you have sleep apnea, you've been diagnosed with that, there is a really cool piece of tech out there called Sleepyhead, available for Linux, Mac, and Windows. It only works with certain CPAP machines, but it gives you all this data, well, a lot of data too.
Cool.
Lots of data that you can just get right off your CPAP.
Yeah.
It's called Sleepyhead, and we'll have a link to it in the show notes.
Hey, do you want your CPAP? It's in a box.
I probably should. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it so much, but I probably should. All right, so are you ready to move on, stop talking about health, and kick it?
Yes.
Kick it! All right, we were talking about the whole convergence thing. That's the Superbook. Turn your smartphone into a laptop for only $99. They had a goal of $50,000. They've raised $777,000, still with 25 days to go.
Moly.
Yeah, 5,200 backers already.
Everybody wants to do this.
Everybody wants the Superbook.
It's your point of connection to the people and the world around you.
Phone.
It's also an incredibly powerful computer. The speed and power of our smartphones rarely hold us back, but the small screens and limited interface often do. That's why we created the Superbook, a simple plug-and-play device that turns your Android smartphone into a beautiful laptop computer. Just connect your phone to the Superbook using a USB cable. The Superbook provides the keyboard, multi-touch trackpad, and display, and your smartphone brings the computing power, along with your files and apps. And of course, the Superbook can use your smartphone's data, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth connectivity. The Superbook has over 8 hours of battery life, and it even charges your smartphone. It works with all modern Android devices, and it's future-proof. When you get a new smartphone, it'll still work with your Superbook. It's like getting a brand new laptop every time you upgrade. Starting at just $99, the Superbook is a fraction of the cost of a traditional laptop and is even more convenient. Hi, I'm Andrew, co-founder of Andromium, makers of the Superbook. I was frustrated with having such a powerful smartphone, but with an interface designed purely for mobile use. Our goal with the Superbook is to eliminate the restrictions that hold smartphones back. The software side of the Superbook is Andromium, an app that makes Android function like a familiar desktop operating system. You get a mouse cursor, keyboard shortcuts, desktop class browsing, and easy file management. Everything is intuitive and optimized for productivity. There's no custom firmware to install and no technical knowledge needed. Simply download the app from the Play Store and connect to your Superbook. You can use one of our native apps or any of the millions of Android apps in the Play Store. We're also introducing an open SDK to enable developers to add Andromium optimization to their apps. We've already released a beta version of Andromium in the Play Store. It's received hundreds of thousands of downloads and extremely positive reviews. We've been developing the Superbook and Andromium for over a year, and we're excited to finally release them. Our prototypes are complete, and we're ready to move into full production. We're looking for your support to help us make this new kind of computing a reality. The Superbook is just the beginning, and we're excited for you to be a part of it. Thanks for your support.
I wonder what the battery drain is on that.
So, no, it charges. It charges because that's got, I'm sure it just has a huge battery slab under the keyboard. You know, this is something that reminds me of like the Moto Dock, where you could, it had HDMI and mini USB, and as long as the device you were connecting supported those things, it would use the keyboard as a USB device and the trackpad as a USB device, and the HDMI powered the display. I think that's what's going on here. But it works with more Android devices because it's using the standard, there's a standard connection technology there. I'm blanking on the name. But it makes me wonder then, the Palm Folio. It also was another thing like this. It makes me wonder if this would work with things like the Raspberry Pi. I mean, they talk about using it with a smartphone, but could you use it with a Pi potentially? This actually, not for how they advertise it, but for all the other things I could use something like this for, is actually kind of interesting to me. And I think they have a big battery slab underneath that keyboard. So when you plug in the phone, it actually recharges your phone, which is pretty slick. So
it said it works with a lot of apps. Are there apps that it wouldn't work with?
I would think you're going to have two problems. First problem being is the environment you run in, it sounds like it's their Andromium app that you download. And it launches when you hook up the USB port and connect to the dock, it starts. So then you can run Android apps in there. But the issue is you're driving now an external display over a slower connection technology than what the physical connection is in the phone device. So I would think some of these Android devices are going to struggle to power that properly if you do something like games or whatnot. I don't know. Kind of neat, I think. I mean, the theory that you could hook up other devices kind of gets me the most excited. Not really for the desktop capabilities. I don't need yet another desktop environment. Isn't it interesting, though, like when you use Android as a desktop, like just if you do that, you get an actual version of Microsoft Word and Excel released by Microsoft. You get an official Reddit application. You get a Telegram. You get a Hulu app. You get everybody makes apps for Android. It's like the most app-rich environment that you could run on a desktop because you can't run iOS on the desktop. I think that's interesting. That could make this book kind of successful just right there, potentially. I don't know, Mom. What do you guys think?
I think that there's too many phones that are crap, and many people will try with their crap phones and blame it on the device.
I think you're probably right. I think you're gonna have to have a pretty powerful phone. The pricing seems about right, Ange. You can get a double pack for $198, but the base one, $99.
A double pack?
You can get 2 of them. Yeah.
Interesting, because they assume that your spouse or significant other has. I mean,
I don't know. You
don't have 2 phones. Well, okay. Normal people don't have 2 phones. Chris?
You know what?
Well, that's because you're not in Portugal. Apparently, it's calculated that every citizen has about 3 phones.
Oh, interesting.
I like this, though.
I have 3 on my desk.
I know.
So,
I keep thinking we'll eventually give one to the kids.
Yeah, they're not all working.
They could use something like this, too.
They're not all in use, is what I mean.
Isn't this what Ubuntu is trying to do with convergence?
Yeah, it is. It is. Only this is all running on top of Android, and the desktop environment appears to be an Android app environment and not like a full desktop environment. So it's not.
This would be great for a college student.
Yeah. The one thing I do wrap my head around is the one thing they said, which is totally a marketing gimmick, but it's like getting a new laptop every time you upgrade your phone. That is kind of true. Like, you do kind of upgrade your phone at least every 2 years or so, and if you could keep this thing and use new devices with it, that actually will be kind of cool.
I mean, it's essentially. I mean, it does have a little bit of magic in it, but it's essentially just having a keyboard, mouse, and display
hooked up to the Android phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. All in one nice package that's portable like a laptop and silent, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to the details, like what's that keyboard like? They showed a shot where they're like with key presses and the whole keyboard flexed when they press the button.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't have put that in the Kickstarter video there, guys. But I'm going to say if it was me and I was throwing around Kickstarter money right now, I'd back this. I think I would back this. 11.6-inch HD display, 8+ hours of battery, charges your phone simultaneously, multi-touch trackpad with Android navigation keys, including home and the multi-app switcher. You know what? I think it's actually kind of a cool idea. And I don't know if it's for me, but I think the concept is pretty solid. And they include also, look at this, you can get a super bundle with clips to clip the phone onto the side of the screen.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah. It looks a little hokey.
Yeah, it does look a little hokey.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There you go.
I wonder if it acts as a second display. Like, why would you need it attached like that?
That would be really cool if it does, because none of the videos or pictures do they actually show that. But that would be really... Because then you could have like...
I guess it makes sense. It might... I doubt it. I think they would have put that as a feature. I bet they have to do that because the cable is so short, and in this situation you wouldn't want your phone hanging off your leg.
Right, you wouldn't. Yeah, the cable is super short. Yeah.
So why not built into the case so that you can actually put it in?
Like a dock.
Because then it's only going to fit certain phones. Though Motorola tried that.
That's true. Yeah. That is. Although,
they say it works. They say, I like in the video, like it works with all kinds of Android devices. Well, it's compatible with modern Android devices, they say, including the Galaxy and the Galaxy Note, the LG, the Nexus phones, HTC, Sony Xperia, Blue, and Huawei. So that's actually all right. As long as this is what it was. I couldn't remember the name. As long as your phone supports USB OTG, which has been around for a while. So that's the Superbook. Whenever you get a new Android phone, you get a new laptop. So what do you think? Fund? Not fund?
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
I'd say yes.
Says the iOS user.
Yeah! We got a mumble agreement and an Ange agreement. WW, you were awfully silent, though. I mean, do you want to be the one objector? It's already been tipped, but if you want to...
No, you guys can have it. I just don't see a use for this. Also, for me... one reason why the screen might not be a second display is because it might be using all of the phone to help process all the information.
Yeah, sure.
And if it isn't, it probably should be.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
It's just probably lagging both screens, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, I want to mention funding the JB Network. I got something up my sleeve I want to tell you guys about in a minute. But patreon.com/today, that's where you go. You know, we've been posting the full live stream for our patrons. And also the swag just went out recently.
Yep.
And we always have nice perks we like to do. There's always more things we have up our sleeve. So this week, I want to do something new for the patrons, and you can still sign up and get in on this at patreon.com/today. I don't know what came over me last night. I don't know why this finally happened after 6 freaking months. I got a hair at my butt, and I went together. I got all the scale footage together, and I've created 2 new episodes of the Rover Log.
Oh, Yes.
Yeah, and
I was going to mention that the other day, but I didn't want you to feel bad.
I know.
So
I did feel bad. No.
Yeah, I know.
So the first, here's what's great is it's been 6 months, and so I forgot about some of it until watching this. So the first episode is us switching from the JB rover to Lady Jupiter, and a quick tour of that. But then all of the technical challenges that I ran into because it's a huge brand new vehicle and it has lots of problems, and we just got in it and just drove. 2 hours into the road trip, we switched vehicles and then drove that all the rest of the way. So a whole bunch of problems we ran into. Then also I have a little bit of the Mark Shuttleworth keynote in there, a little Cory Doctorow and my thoughts on that. So that's the first episode. It's a great episode. Then the second episode, which is only going to be available to patrons for a while. First episode will be available to everybody. Second episode, I'm going to release immediately to patrons. I'll release it to everyone else in a little bit. Second episode is us returning from scale and driving into the tornado.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, we're talking life or death here.
Yeah. And we got it on
genuine,
camera.
Genuine
fear.
Yes. Yeah. I was like scared.
And not only was I
anxiety.
scared for my life, but this was the very first maiden voyage, and we drive into a tornado, and we thought stuff, and I don't even know. I'm just saying, didn't know for sure if the insurance had kicked in yet.
Yeah. So here's the thing that you have to consider, like like in any kind of movie where a boat is going to sink, there's that sound that something's buckling and it's about that.
It's funny you say that.
That is what I felt when he sent me the videos, in via Telegram.
Yeah.
The legit, this is not a drill thing from the radio.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very serious. So
my gosh.
That's the second episode. I'll be posting it for everyone later, but I'm going to post it today.
Yeah, so
both of them, first one will be going out for everybody. Second one will be going out for just the patrons today, and then will be released to everybody later. Patreon.com/today. So that's the second episode. And then after the tornado, it's our crazy 12-hour drive to make it home in time. Just this massive mad drive we did in capturing that. And boy, does my hair get just disheveled. It's the worst. I've never gone on camera with my hair like that before. It's real bad. It's all over the place. But, it's all in the pursuit of documenting the event. Patreon.com/today if you want to check it out. Also, something we haven't mentioned for a while, Instagram.com/Jupiter Broadcasting. Look at the nice pictures of the stickers.
Okay, so do you see the background there?
I see Tech Talk Today playing in the background.
Yeah.
Nice.
2 laptops adorned with, all the best geeky stickers, but specifically Jupiter Broadcasting stickers.
I love it.
And, while watching or listening to Tech Talk Today.
The chat room says, hashtag Jupiter Broadcasting Storm Chasers. It does kind of feel like that, although, and I will admit, and I don't know if it's totally clear in the video, when it first started happening, we were so curious if it was actually real, because when we're driving, it's rainbows and clouds. Like, there's no tornado at first when we first so we probably made the mistake of continuing.
Why
we
are they
shouldn't
pulled
have.
over? Why are they pulling off the road? What's going on here? There's no emergency vehicles. Well,
Exactly.
JupiterBroadcasting.com/stickers. You didn't mention that. But
Actually, no, that's where I was just going next. JupiterBroadcasting.com/stickers. Tell me about it. What's over there, Ange? What would I find, perchance?
Well, we have 9 different stickers, 8 show stickers, 1 Jupiter Broadcasting sticker, shows and Jupiter Broadcasting. I actually have 2 more new stickers on the way.
What?
They're not on the page yet, so you cannot order them. But I have a faux show sticker coming, and I have a new Linux Unplugged sticker.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be, I think, a limited edition because, honestly, I don't think people are going to like it that much.
Oh, really?
But I wanted to buy it anyway just because it, I don't know, it's different. It'll definitely stand out on your laptop. I know that much. So, anyway, 2 new stickers.
I'm very, very curious. I can't wait to see it. All right, so you find those at jupiterbroadcasting.com/stickers, techtalktoday.reddit.com. That's where you go to submit links, stories, and Kickstarters of the week to this show. Thank you to everybody who does it. You are unsung heroes. Mumble Room, we'd love to have more of you join us if you could. We're doing this show on Monday afternoons after Coda Radio. Go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar, and then jblive.tv to watch it. We have a chat room there. It's embedded. You do bang mumble. That, by the way, is the exclamation mark. Bang mumble, and it'll give you our mumble server info.
And you don't even need to install anything because it's embedded.
For the chat room. For mumble, you have to install mumble.
Yes, yeah, right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, Okay. Mosenrath says that he needs a Noah Switch Me to Linux sticker, and
Do we still have those?
Well, I gave them all to Noah, but I found a little stash in my purse.
I'm trying to convince that I got to fly out here for a few projects. So if I do, I'll have him bring them with him maybe.
Oh,
and,
no.
yeah, because he can hand them out.
Yeah.
Okay. You see, we have one up there. He's waiting to actually take it off the backing and stick it to the studio once we're all.
That's great. Yeah. So I will try to get that up when I get the other new stickers up in Mosenrath. So look forward to that sticker as well.
So I'm going to go randomly through the time vortex and go back into the 90s. I have literally no idea what clip commercial's coming next. It's a grab bag. I throw a whole bunch of different stuff in there. We'll see what it is. So this is our end of show clip. Thanks for being here. We'll see you back here next week.
Watch me trick Fred out of his fruity pebbles. Yeah! Sydney Rapper! Fruity pebbles, here I come. I'll teach you to dance if you give me some. He really loves my pebbles. 5 fruity flavors, very fine. Orange, lemon, green, cherry, and lime. It's pebbles time. Break it down. Fruity pebbles time. Barney, my pebble. Time to wrap things up. Post fruity pebbles cereal, part of Mr. Nutritious Breakfast.